Hello, my name is Jonathan, and in this video, I'm going to give you some insights in inclusion in Denmark, some way we organize it, some history, and some statistics. First, we're starting out with some history. In 1993, the Danish school reformed, and we were striving for more equality, more inclusion. We wanted every child to be as good as possible. That was part of the following year's Salamanca statement, which was an international supporting and working for inclusion among different countries. So we were in fact just doing it one year before, but we knew it was coming. We then, for almost 20 years, strived for inclusion, and we became better, but all children weren't included. And in 1912, there was an agreement between the Danish parliament and the Danish municipalities that they should have a goal of 96% of the children should be in an ordinary public school, an ordinary school. So it should not be more than 4% that might go to a school for children with special needs. That was agreed in 2012, and then in the following 2 years, the politicians, they negotiated and tried to find out how should we do this? How should we reach for these 96%? And they made a reform in 2013, and reform of inclusion that was implemented in the Danish school in 2014. So here we had a school reform, which was in fact which included a reform of the way we approach inclusion. And here we very much agreed that we should target for the 96%, which meant that a lot of teachers, a lot of pedagogues in the schools, and a lot of schools were reforming, were changing and implementing new pedagogies and new approaches to include more children. We did that for 2 years, and we were really working hard for include more children. But in 2016, we gave up, and we said, but of course we should strive for the most inclusion as possible, but we would not anymore have a goal that stated 96%. We should just do it as good as we could. So we almost reached the 96%, but we could not keep it. There were some children that just had a way too difficult time to be included in the school. When we ask ourselves why should we include, why should we strive for inclusion, there are different perspectives, there are different arguments. Here's a model inspired by the work and research of Dyson, who says that when we look into literature, into articles, we can see that the arguments are categorized within 4 categories: financial, pragmatic, political, and ethical. In the Danish system, we have already said that it was financial reasons why we needed to strive for more inclusion. As we saw here in 95 up until 2010, these are all the expenses for the educational area in Denmark, and the children with special needs segregated offers of schools for children with special needs had 5% of the budget in 95, and was going up here, reached almost to 15% of the budget. And that was a lot of money, and we didn't really have the money to spend that much money on schools for children with special needs. So we had a financial problem about how should we spend the money in the school system. And there we found out that it was very expensive to have all these segregated offers like schools for children with special needs. And that was, according to some, also part of the argument why we went for these 96%. But of course, there can be other reasons why we should, ethical, political, and pragmatic arguments for why we should include more. When we are looking into the Danish inclusion and we ask, where do these children go that are not part of the ordinary school system? Well, 56% in 1819, they went to a special class. A special class that could be a class in an ordinary school. So they were part of the ordinary school where there were some offers special for children with special needs. So it was part of an ordinary school. It was just it was included in the ordinary school, but it was a specific part of the school, so it was still a bit segregated. Then we have the segregation. 32% of the children with special needs that are not in an ordinary school, they go for a segregated school for children with special needs. Then we have 11% who go for a multi-treatment. There could be a lot of variations. That could be in the psychiatry, a lot of different things, just not school for children with special needs. So it could be in the psychiatry, for instance. And then we have 1%, here it says youth school. According to my knowledge in the statistics, this doesn't make sense. A youth school is not a specific offer. That is just something you can do outside the school, but maybe it is these 1% who is in fact not attending school, but just are at home. So we have this diverse 1% who we don't really know what they do. So they are probably enrolled in some kind of system, but that it's not a specific offer. They are not in some kind of treatment really. We had the goal of 96%. That was the success rate, and we were striving for that in 10 and 11, and it went up, as you see here. So in 2010 and 11, 94.2% went to an ordinary school for all the children in Denmark. And the year after, it was better and better and better and better. But in 2014 and 15, we reached the 95.2%. And here all the professionals related to the school said, we can't do anymore. It's simply too difficult to include more children. It's bad for the children included in the school. This percent here, we can't reach for more. It's simply not possible within the nowadays, in the actual way we organize school. So in the way we organize school, we could not go further than 95.2%. We went up here, was 92.5%. So we went up here, and then in 2016, the politicians agreed, okay, we have done everything we could at the moment. Our abilities, our way of organizing school, we cannot reach for more. And just June 2016, they said, okay, we are, let's put it aside, the 96% success rate. Instead, just do it as good as you can. And then you can see here, it really went down, and it went just the way back to where it started. So we tried, and we got a lot of new experiences, a lot of new competences. And we cannot know if it's the same children that are included or not included in a Danish school. We can just see that the percentage is approximately the same. When we see when are the children included, when are they not included, we can see that if we are having the school, the Danish school, the Danish primary school in three ages, we have elementary, middle school, and high school. Elementary, from they are approximately 6 years until they are approximately 10 years, and then middle school from 10 to 14, and high school 14 to 16, 17-ish. So we can see that in fact, we have 96% here in 19 and 20. 96% are included in the elementary school. And then they are starting up, but then when we come to middle school, it had dropped down 1.5%. And then it drops down again 1.5% when they reach high school. High school is also a part of the primary school. So as you see here, we have in fact reached the 96%, but during the time in school, some children begin to have a hard time, and they end up being segregated from the ordinary school. So it's not that you are segregated from the very start. No, it comes during the primary school. We can also see that there's a gender gap. So in 2019 and 20, 94.4% of the pupils were included in an, oh, I have a small puppy here saying good morning to me. Hello, hello. 94.4% went to an ordinary school. But when we see here, there's a gender gap, because 97% of the girls were included and 92% of the boys. So there is a gap. It seems that more boys are segregated than girls. When we look more into gender and diagnosis, we can also see here, I just translate the Danish statistics here, that there is a gap between which kind of diagnosis do the genders get here. So these are statistics from 2016. The children who get a diagnosis when they are in age between 0 and 18 years old, we can see here, and this is for the whole country. ADHD girls in 2016, all the children that got a diagnosis ADHD, it was approximately 27% girls and 73% boys. So there was way more boys that got ADHD diagnosis than girls. When we look at anxiety, it has swapped. Here, 2/3 is girls and 1/3 is boys. So there are way many more girls who get diagnosis with anxiety and depression than girls. Then we have eating disorders, where we really have a gap as well. Here is approximately 90% girls who get the diagnosis and 10% boys. As we see here, it's still that it's 2/3 of all diagnoses given of these three are given to boys, and then we have 60% of approximately 40% are given to girls. So many more boys are getting the diagnosis. When you ask the professionals, some of the reasons that are given is that is sometimes, for instance, ADHD is sometimes more observable in the classroom because it's very much acting out sometimes, whereas anxiety and depression can be more easily hidden. So when we know that more boys are excluded, more boys are getting diagnosis than girls, we also know that they have ADHD diagnosis more, and some of the reasons is that it's more observable, where you can go and hide anxiety, depression, and eating disorders more than the more extrovert ADHD. In 2014, we had the school reform, and in the school reform, we were implementing new pedagogies to approach and to include more children. Some of it was that we should have way more variation in the classroom. It should be more experimental, more hands-on, more different ways of approach learning to strive for a positive learning process. Also, there should be a lot more collaboration. So it should not be so individualized. Instead, it should be more group work, different groups. One group in the morning, one in the afternoon. So a lot of changing in the way we relate to each other. So there was really much more focus on social development and relation to others, and a lot more variation in the classroom. It seemed that it had some positive benefits, but when we asked the professional, for instance, the school psychologists, they also observed a change in what kind of problems were reported from the teachers at the schools. Because some of the children got very stressed about all this variation, all these different ways of approach learning, and all these changing relations in the group work and in schools. So I talked with a school psychologist, and she observed in her municipality and knew that it was very common in other municipalities as well, that they saw that it seemed that a lot of the children with ADHD was really benefit. Some of these, as long as you did a structured, different ways of approaching learning, different ways of not just sitting with a book and reading, but other ways to approach the learning process on hands-on, and also maybe have some group who seem positive related to ADHD. So they had less reports from the teachers about problems with children that they suspected might have ADHD, but the teachers were reporting much more anxiety and stress among the children. And new reports about children in the high school have also shown that we have lots more anxiety and stress in the high school. So it seemed that when our challenges in the school with ADHD might have come a bit down, it has just skipped. So now we have more problems with anxiety and stress. So it seems that no matter what we choose in our learning process, our didactic choices, it seems that it will benefit for some, and for some others, it will not benefit. So the school we had before might have triggered that it was more observable, the behavior related to ADHD, whereas in the new school, we observe way more anxiety. That was it. Thank you.